If you could customize all the pieces on a chess match, why wouldn't you use only queens? That's the infamous queen problem Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering, named. In a game where you have access to full customization of the pieces you're playing with, in our case, cards, there must be a way to make stronger cards more difficult to play. That's what we call gating mechanisms, or in simpler words, resource engines. Different card games have engineered different resource engines. Magic the Gathering uses mana, a land-based resource that creates a natural curve. Pokémon uses energy attachments to pace attacks. Hearthstone uses an incremental mana system that grows each turn. Yu-Gi-Oh! Uses tributes and summoning limits to gate its most powerful monsters. And in Digimon, your power moves give your opponent more resources. Regardless of the name and style, these systems all serve one purpose: balancing the game. Resource engines generally operate in two ways. They are either consumable or renewable. In the simplest terms, you are either forced to accumulate a stockpile of resources that will be gone for good once you spend them, or you rely on a system that regenerates its capacity at the start of every turn. Whatever resource system you choose will define the tension of your game. If your resources are consumable, there will be a potential for stagnation, and if you spend them poorly, you can bottom out and lose your momentum entirely. On the flip side, you may have explosive flexibility, giving you the freedom to hoard resources to pull off a massive game-changing turn. If your resources are renewable, your game will have much more predictability, especially if the players are allowed to see the current resource status of one another. But on the flip side, predictability rewards stability and long-term planning, ensuring the game is decided by your engine's efficiency rather than a lucky windfall of assets. My original board game was heavily inspired by Catan, reflecting themes of territorial exploration and accumulation. Like Catan, those resources were consumable, you gathered them over time, and every action you took lowered your current balance. However, in transitioning into a card game, I realized that the flow of combat required a more consistent foundation. So I moved toward the renewable resource system tied directly to the capital cards. They function as a production hub, a renewable engine that players can expand through upgrades. Your capital, bolstered by its upgrades, defines your turn-by-turn spending power. By tying a renewable resource engine to a capital with the default starting production, I've bypassed the classic mana screw and mana flood issues common in games where resources depend on card draws. Mana screw occurs when you have a handful of powerful cards but no resources to play them. Mana flood is quite the opposite, having an abundance of mana but no cards to utilize it. By starting the game with a guaranteed baseline of production, you ensure that you are almost always able to play cards within that cost range. Simultaneously, this removes the need to clutter your deck with resource cards. In Kravestorm, I've also implemented a resource system where you need resources not only to play cards, but also to activate their attacks. This creates a hybrid model sitting somewhere between Magic the Gathering and Pokémon. I chose this system because since I'm providing a guaranteed starting mana pool, I realized I'd have to introduce further restrictions on turn-based action. This prevents fast snowballing, ensuring that just because you can afford to flood the board with units, doesn't mean you will have the resources left to make them all attack at once. That leads us to the ultimate question. Once you have the engine, how do you decide the price of the parts? How do you actually determine the cost of a single card? That is a deep mathematical rabbit hole, and it's exactly where we are going in the next episode.